So I think that Cam is over in a corner right now, giving me the worst hand signal in the history of mankind. Like normally when you're starting a podcast, Rashai, and I'm really glad you're back here to join me.
So happy to be here.
I know. She's doing this. I don't know if anybody knows what this means. Does this mean go? In the Army, we rally, but typically it's like that. You want to be clear. So Cam's over there looking like a duck out of water, flapping her wings and freaking out. Man, we need a camera. I'm going to ask Jackson, who's one of our producers, to put a camera that way on her next time, because I don't know. I have no idea what she was trying to convey to me, but I think that we're ready to go. Are you ready to go?
Yes, let's go.
Right. So we've got kind of a rapid fire webinar today about what I would say is one of the biggest issues facing, it's not the biggest, but it's certainly a big issue,
Definitely.
which is how do we reduce chronic absenteeism in schools?
Mm-hmm.
And so, for those of you guys that are familiar with the podcast, sometimes I call her Rue. Sometimes I call her Rashai. It's a little nickname that we have in the office, but you are a former school teacher.
Yep.
And now, well, tell us why you want this data.
Now, I mean, the biggest thing that schools need help with is not knowing that their students are absent. It's about knowing how to get them back and why they are absent.
Okay, you ruined my crystal ball joke, but that's true. Like, no, it's just like I got my crystal ball out. Look, I got my crystal ball out for everyone today. Like, I got to keep it shined up. And I know what school districts, I need to get one of those big turbine hats, is I know what school districts don't want to know. They don't need us telling us that their kids are not there.
Yeah.
They know, right? I mean, they know that their kids are not there. And a lot of times I think they know why. The question is how do we get them back? Like actually get them to come back. And one of the reasons, Rashai, why I asked you to join me on this conference, I'm speaking on this topic at the annual COSBA conference, which is a consortium of state school board associations, kind of like the National School Board Association. Yeah. I think they split it a couple of years ago. But anyway, so they're having a conference. I'm presenting this data on Saturday with some school board members from Memphis-Shelby County School District. But I really wanted to get an educator's view on this data and how we can use these facts, these data points to get kids back in school. And you're kind of doing this for a living now, right?
Yeah. I mean, what I'm excited to see is that even when I was in the classroom, how much things have changed, like even though it was kind of steady for a couple of years as to why kids were absent, I'm interested to know what is it now with all of the, how quickly trends change. I know that chronic absenteeism, follows that same like swiftness and change. So I really want to know, what are these reasons?
Well, and I think that one of the things that we've seen as we've been working with districts across the nation, and my objective here is to give the people that are watching a few 1 to 3 things they can actively use in their school districts to start getting the kids to show back up. And of course, we're our own advertiser here. So if you need help with chronic absenteeism, please give us a call and we will put together an actual like intervention campaign for you. But I want you to be able to get the facts and the data right now so you can go do something yourselves. Yeah. And we got to get the kids back in school. It's terrifying. All right. So I've got this deck up here, and I'm not gonna read all the slides. Anyone that wants it can get it, and Cam will send it out to you so you can have the deck and utilize it. But you've not seen this polling data yet.
No.
So
I'm super excited about it.
And that's what I wanted. I wanted you to have the same reaction as everyone else, which is, I want you to ask the questions you think they would ask.
Yeah.
Because you're going to use the data in the same way, right?
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, I don't think we'll have a lot of time for Q&A or questions in the chat box, but try to put the questions in chat and we'll look at them and get to those. If not, we will email everyone answers after this. Because I want to try to get this done in a timely fashion because I know it's a lunchtime block for a lot of people. Okay. So we know why we're here. Kids are not missing school. The goal of this poll, and I should say we ran it a national poll.
Mm-hmm.
So it's broken out into every state. We're trying to see if there's trends in certain regions and all that. And I'll kind of dig into that. But our goal was pretty simple.
Mm-hmm.
Why are they not going to school as much as they used to? And what can we do about it?
Yeah.
Fair?
Yeah, fair.
All right. Well, let's kind of dig into some of the facts of this. And obviously, I'm not going to get into the methodologies and all that stuff. Know that we do have a very stern margin of error on this data, and you can have all that. So that's in the methodology slide. It's a 4.9% margin of error, blah, 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 blah. 95% level of confidence. And for you mega statistician nerds like me, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good poll.
Yeah.
Like, that's a solid poll, right? It's not like some of the polls you read about. So it's a pretty solid data point because, and I should say this, we use this data internally for our own clients.
Yeah.
So we want to stand up for it, and hopefully you can utilize it, and help your district.
Yeah, for sure.
And of course, some districts are going to want to know the exact polling data in their region. If anyone wants that, we can do individual polls in smaller districts to give you your exact data points. Okay, without further ado, let's start to get into the math a little bit here, right? And I'm going to share this screen full for you real quick so we can see it all. All right. I am going to work towards some really critical top lines, some key findings, but we got to lay a little bit of groundwork.
Yeah.
Okay. First off, who got polled? And you can see here that the breakdown is pretty normal. These were parents and not just parents, but they were caregivers. Now we know a lot of aunts are raising and grandparents are raising the babies and step families and all that, but it's the caregivers. And it's got a pretty decent age breakdown. I like that, elementary and up, nice breakout, 55, 45 and everybody. Now, the reason why the number totals over 100, Rashai, can you guess why it totals over 100?
Is that how many? I mean, we went over the mark.
No. That's the percentage of parents that have elementary school, 55%. Parents of middle school children, 45% of the respondents have kids in middle school. 40% of them have it in high school. So it's a little tricky. You know what Mark Twain said, right? Lies, damn lies, and statistics, right? There's a reason why it's above that. Because some people have multiple kids.
Definitely.
Right. Okay.
Right.
So somebody out there, and I know who it's going to be, Diane from Round Rock, or somebody's going to go, right, that number
goes over 100.
It's over 100.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes people have multiple kids, right?
Definitely.
And so that's where you get the data point. So it's a nice mix of people out there. Got it. Yeah. So I don't want anybody to lose their minds over it. That makes somebody feel. The funny thing is, when I saw it, I was like, wait a minute.
Right.
This was out to over 100%. Okay?
I just thought we overdid it.
No. No. And you're a great educator. You don't have to worry about the stats. Okay. So, all right. So this is an interesting, and I don't want anyone to jump to conclusions. So I'm going to ask you not to jump to a conclusion too.
Okay.
This was the question we asked. Has your student ever been designated as truant or chronically absent? 80% roughly said no. So do we care about their opinions? If only 20%, and this is the thing that when I got the results back, I stopped right here. And I said, wait a minute, we want to poll parents of chronically absent children.
Right.
But 80% say their kids have never been chronically absent. So did we poll the wrong people? That's the first thing that should pop in your head. What do you think? I'm a lawyer and an old soldier and a scientist. So I'm messing with you, right?
Yeah.
You're trying to guess the answer.
Yeah.
What do you think the answer
I like to predict that. When it comes to the no's, honestly, I'm more distracted by the unsure. Well,
don't be distracted by any of it.
Okay.
Because we're going to look at this poll in its totality.
Got it.
And I was like, wait a minute. Statistically speaking, if we polled all these parents under a 5% margin of error, and we know that nationwide norms, it's way over 40%.
Right.
But 40 to 50%, some districts more, some districts less. 40 to 50% of the kids, there's a lot of districts we're working right now, 43%, 48%, 32% chronically absent. Well, shouldn't the poll be about the same percentages?
Yeah, that's what I would think.
Well, that's what got me to write this first question down. Do parents know what chronically absent means? And this is going to be everyone's first big takeaway.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the first big takeaway here, because when we get down, we're going to start digging into the findings here. And I'm telling you, this is your first big, they don't know. They don't know what it means. They have no idea what the definition of that means. And well, let's just I'm so excited to get to find it, what we dug out. I'm trying to skip ahead. I don't want to do that. I want to have fun with you right now. So let's look at this. So these are a series of questions. I'm not giving them the exact order, but I'm trying to give them in a way, in a flavor that will make a story for everyone, right? Okay. So how important is it for kids to attend school? Now, it's funny. Some people told me not to ask that question.
Why?
Well, because I say, of course it's important.
Oh,
But in science, you can't make an assumption. So we're not going
right.
to assume that parents believe it's important. The first thing we have to do is start off with a baseline. Do your families think it's important for the kids to attend school? 92% said yes.
Mm.
92% said yes. Now, this is what's going to be, this is going to be the hardest part about this for school districts. And I just got back from the Alabama PSRI Association. Awesome conference. They had us down there during Mardi Gras. I gave a presentation. It wasn't exactly about this data, but it came up.
Mm-hmm.
And what school districts have to let go of, educators have to let go of, there's about 9 to 11% of the people that just don't care.
That's real.
Yeah.
That's real.
It's real. And it hurts my soul that there's 10% of the population, give or take, that doesn't care if the kids go to school. They don't think it's important. They don't think, but these are the same people that they don't think anything's important. They're contrarians. They're obstinate. They're just against the world.
Mm-hmm.
It's not 30%. It ain't 60%, but I've been doing polling and this kind of research for, I'm getting old. I'm getting old, 78 years or something. I'm not that old. I'm not that old, but a lot of years. And what we found historically is no matter what the question is, 7 to 11% of the people are just against it. It's just, it's crazy. It's crazy. Drinking and driving bad. 11% of the public, I don't care. Right. They don't care. They don't care. They're like, it's fine. I think it's a joke. I think it's fine. Shut your mouth.
Yeah.
Smoking. We know smoking's bad. 11% they go, it's not bad. I don't care what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to get, in this poll, it was 7.5%, but it's within that realm of basically, just assume for argument's sake, 10% of the population. You're not going to get them to fight the chronic absenteeism. And so a big takeaway here is if your district is less than 10%, plus or minus a couple points of chronically absent students, you're doing great.
Yeah.
Go work on something else.
Mm.
Oh, God, somebody got mad at me. Somebody got mad at me because they're like, Brian,
be to zero.
No, but they do. And you're not going to get the amount of resources and the energy and the time and the effort.
Yeah.
You have such limited resources in a school district.
Mm-hmm.
I'm letting you know, according to Brian Stevens and his crystal ball, look, his crystal ball says, you will never get it under 7%. It's never going to happen.
Yeah,
okay.
Matches.
And so it's not going to happen, right? And so I think your time, energy, money, resources are best going to do something else for the kids.
Yeah.
Still use it for the kids.
Mm-hmm.
Don't go on a trip to Vegas or anything with the money, but still help the children like you're going to do. But that's our benchmark number.
Yeah.
So remember, we said 92% think it's important. So we're not trying to convince people that showing up to school is important.
It's important.
When you think about your resource dollars, your marketing dollars, your advertising dollars, your teachers and your principals, you're not trying to explain to them that it's important.
Mm-hmm.
They know it's important.
Yeah.
Now what? Right. So why aren't they there?
Exactly.
Why aren't they there? Aha. Okay. We're going to get ready to our next aha moment.
Mm-hmm.
But does this kind of make sense to you?
Yes, it does. I mean, it 100% matches my
90%. 90%.
90%. No, but it matches my teaching experience because out of all of my years, it was about 10% of those parents who just did not care. And there was nothing you could do about it, you know?
And it's so hard to let go because I don't want to let, if I have 10 kids, I don't want to let one go. I don't want to let one not make it, but
yeah,
gosh,
it's just got to focus.
It's terrible because right now we're letting 4 or 5 go. We're letting 3 to 4 to go. So there's 3 or 4 kids out of the 10 that are low hanging fruit. So let's assume you're at 30% chronic absenteeism rate. That means you have one child. I'm sorry. There's nothing. Yeah. I'm sorry. It breaks my heart. We can work on that next, but let's work on the 2 low hanging fruit.
Yeah.
Their families, their parents think it is important, but they ain't there. Okay. Yeah. So let's keep digging. All right. Is this helpful? You think it's going to help you in your job?
Yes.
Are you going to be able to recruit more? Okay. So anyway,
come on.
Don't leave the same kids. Okay. Okay. Next. This is where the numbers start to get a little fun here. And I need to share my screen so that I don't get into trouble out there. So 40. Okay. This was a question. Which attendance statements do parents most agree with? Right. And 41% of the parents believe that it's okay for children to miss school if they're not feeling their best or for things like vacation. So let's reconcile that. 92% said it is important unless. Well, it's those unlesses that are killing us. It's the unlesses that are killing us. And so you get 59% of parents say that children should attend the most number of school days unless they are seriously ill. I don't know what the definition of seriously ill is, but then you have 27% that say it's okay for a vacation. It's 14% of saying they just don't feel good. Now, look, I remember my mother's a critical care nurse.
Mm-hmm.
She's seen a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I could have a bone, literally, I have a bone sticking out of my leg. She's like, you better get your butt to school, because 92% she thought it was important.
Yeah.
But what she did not allow is a minor, and everything was minor. Bones,
Right.
but a cold, a little sniffle, I don't feel good,
Mm-hmm.
anxiety,
Mm-hmm.
anxiety.
Yeah.
That I'm giving you a hint here. Parents are not expecting their children to go because their children said they have anxiety. And so when you're coming out of COVID, there's a lot of depression, there's a lot of social isolation,
Mm-hmm.
and parents are still not forcing their kids to go get reacclimated as fast as they should. So they're depressed and they're sad, and then it's a vicious cycle. So I'm depressed and I'm sad because I'm not around people. I'm going to keep you not around people, and I'm going to still be sad not being around people. And it just spirals out.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're starting to get at the point is that parents say it's important, but they don't know what's important. What is a minor injury? What's the definition of a minor injury? Why do parents or caregivers, especially grandparents, think that a vacation is okay to miss school?
Right.
Well, that starts to compound all this because they don't know any better. They think it's important, but then they have all these excuses for failure, right? All right. So let's keep plugging away, because I keep giving you some hints about what's coming. But so this was interesting. This was my first slide where I'm analyzing some facts, right? 97% say it's important.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay. So that's when we say we took the very important and the somewhat important, and that adds up to 97.
Okay.
By the way. Okay.
Makes sense.
41% believe it's okay to miss school. It's okay for certain activities. That number's got to change. Right. And then we got 59% think that children should attend the most days possible. So only 60% most days possible. So we have to educate that 30%. I actually think that 97% is wrong, and I think we need to adjust that slide, Cam. Okay, I think it's supposed to be 92. Sorry about that, everybody. So let me get that corrected. So, so we've got a 40% information gap. 40% of the parents don't understand the standards. They think it's important, but they don't know what the standards are. They don't know what chronically absent means. Okay, and this is going to kind of get us back to the data points earlier about 80% said my kid's never been chronically absent. But what we found out is there's about 40% on this poll that have chronically absent kids.
And think it's okay.
And because they don't know that that's the definition, right?
Exactly.
So this is where it kind of gets into the fun part. How many days do you believe it's okay for a student to miss per semester? 57% say it's okay to miss more than 4 days per semester. Now, when you taught, how many days could they miss before they were deemed chronically absent?
About 10.
10?
Yeah.
That's a lot more than it is now.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
That's why I'm excited to be here.
Now the average is 4 days across the states. If you miss
it's a growing problem.
Yeah, if you miss more than 4 days, you're deemed chronically absent in a lot of districts. So I don't know what individual district everyone has out there, but basically 60% of these parents don't think that missing 4 days is a problem.
It's okay.
So
to
their parents
more than 4 days.
So 57% said it's okay to miss more than 4 days. They're not chronically absent, even though they are chronically absent. The parents don't understand what the definition of chronically absent is according to the school systems.
Right. And you think about this on a whole semester, that's a long time. When you count in these vacations, some families take vacations both semesters. Well, or just certain aspects.
Well, look at this. You get 18% of the people go, it depends on the child. So they don't have any standard at all.
Wow.
But just whatever the child needs to do, whatever. 3.5%, 10 plus days is fine. Another 9% at 8 to 10 days, 4 to 8 days is 27%. And only 42% said they should miss 3 days or less. Right?
Less than
3 days or less. Right? I'm going to write some of this stuff down for my COSM presentation. I want to check a couple of facts when I dig into that. So now you know that you have a definition problem.
Mm-hmm.
right?
Exactly.
You don't have to explain to them it's important. We can push that aside.
Mm-hmm.
They know it's important,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't understand what the definition of chronically absent is. They don't understand that missing 3, 4, 5, 8 days is a problem. They don't know what the problem is. So one of the things that I would encourage the districts to start thinking about doing is to really sit down and start to educate their parents, their caregivers on what, and you got to really make this concrete.
Yeah.
You can't just assume that they know what's important.
Mm-hmm.
Say, hey, we know, and this is probably the way I'd phrase the message. We know that you believe school's important to attend, but we want you to understand that every day a child miss, and there's a lot of stats out there, decreases their opportunity for success. So 1 day means this, 2 days means this, 3 days mean this. So what we've deemed as a school district, that once they missed 4 or more days, as an example, 4 or more days, they're deemed chronically absent. And the parents are going to go, what? You're going to get a lot of parents that go, well, but you can't count them as chronically absent just because they missed 4 days. But we do. And here's why it's important.
Mm-hmm.
And that message is not getting to enough parents.
No.
The definition of it and why every day matters. Every day attending school matters. So I'm looking at Cam over here. She's doing everybody. I'm trying to get her. I want her to do some research for me before the COSMA presentation on what's the likelihood of a student failing per missed day. There's got to be a research paper on this. And I don't know if any of the participants know.
I mean, definitely as a teacher, you know what your average, how much that dinks your average, when you miss this many assignments, depending if that's a test day or if there's a whole, the 4 days, you miss a lot of educational material in 4 days. And so even if that's 1 day per week, that still knocks down your average. So I think these schools should be able to, give different scenarios of how it affects not only your attendance, but your grade and your ability to succeed.
And your ability to succeed, right? Which, is the number one driver of why, people put their kids in schools. They want their child to be success. I want my child out of the house.
Yeah.
Let's stop living off of daddy and stuff. So I think that I'm going to try to dig up some research and we'll start shooting this email out to kind of help with everybody's. It's for every day you miss, this is the repercussions of that day, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm assuming that the school districts that have it set at 3 days, 5 days, 8 days, whatever it is, have some research behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And I really want to dig into that with everybody more because we have to get that to the parents.
Yeah.
We have to dump it on them. And why it was so important earlier to explain, you don't have to explain why in your communications, why it's important. So you don't have to waste energy with that. What you need to utilize your energy for is explaining why it's important every single day matters. Yeah. So like these vacation days, people the kid feels okay, but they feel okay. They can go to school, but why bother?
Right. Not their best.
Well, because parents have not been taught and we're educators, they haven't been educated that every day there's a less likelihood of success.
Yes.
And we need to just feed them, feed them that information over and over again.
Yeah.
So I think that if I was going to build a comms plan for a district and I was going to, fight chronic absenteeism with them, first thing would be really, really trying to just dump very simple, very concrete messages, repetitive over and over and over again. You missed 2 days, assist, missed 3 days, assist, missed 4 days, assist. Oh, and here's one more pro tip that we found out. It's not in this poll, but I think it'll be helpful to people. Is it if you show if you say you're missing X days, but everybody else in the district is missing Y days, people don't like to be compared to in a losing. I didn't say do it publicly, but you send them something, send them in the mail. You go, the average missing days a semester is 2 days. Yeah. Your child's missed 6. It doesn't even matter what the definition is. They don't want to be compared to some other parent that's a better parent, so to speak.
FOMO.
In their eyes. Yeah, it's fear of missing out and all those things, right?
Yeah.
So comparisons are awesome, but also clarifying the definition of and then why it's important, why your definition is the right definition. Make sense? All right. So I want to give I want to kind of keep plugging away here at some other data points. So, and once again, we're a little scattered right now, trying to bake all this information, but I didn't want to wait weeks on it because the semester's already occurred, right?
Yeah.
So how many unexcused absences do you think it's allowed before you're listed as chronically absent? Now, this is kind of a similar question because sometimes you ask questions in different ways just to make sure you kind of validate the information. And so I'm just a little nerd and I'm trying to nerd up with you. But look at this. 18%, 8 days or more, 21%, 10 plus months, That's 40% almost right there that says it's okay to miss more than 8 days in a semester.
Wow.
Another 31% say 4 to 8's okay. It's crazy, right? They don't know the definition. And this is just my reinforcement slide of that point, right? So I've kind of already hit this top line for you, so I'll just kind of jump what it is. But I think we've got to start with the premise they don't understand. How many school days is typically missed per student, per semester, right? And now remember earlier, 90% said we don't, or it was 80%. 80%. Yeah, thank you. 80%. My child's not been chronically absent, but 63% of them have missed more than 4 days.
Right. So, that's the definition.
But you just saw it.
Yeah.
Right? You just saw it. Like they think one thing, but the facts are another. So we need to clarify. That's what is it? 6, 70, 80. I didn't go to math school, but that's like 27% gap.
Yeah.
That's
a huge gap.
So you can fix potentially, you can fix 20% of your chronic absenteeism rate with awesome communications that have to be stuffed down the parents and caregivers' throats.
Yes, clear definition.
So that's a great start to all this. And if you're unsure about your particular district, well, let's do some polling in that area.
Yeah.
Let's go find out what they think and what it will take to clarify the message to get them to show up. But anyway, all right, I do want to hit a few more things with you, and we're gonna try to wrap this up. I'll see if I can take some internet questions. I'm trying to do all this stuff manually myself, and it's just an awesome thing. I'm not going to worry about it right now. I'm still technology, right? I told you I was 123 years old. It's getting hard for me. Okay, so let's talk about the reasons why people say that they're absent. Sick with a fever.
Good.
28%. Is that okay with you? If a kid's sick with a fever, should they?
Definitely. Yeah.
No. I'm not. I don't care about the percentage.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
But
let me ask: is that a good reason to have your kid miss school?
Yes, fever.
You have 18 kids, right? How many kids do you have now?
18. No.
You have 2 beautiful little girls. Trying to steal one of them. They're awesome little girls, man. They're awesome. They're so funny. So if your child is sick with a fever, okay to miss school?
Yes.
Okay. Now we're asking you as a mama.
Yes.
Okay.
Contagious.
Do you think homelessness is a reason to miss school?
Oh my goodness. That is so sad. Homelessness.
Is it a good reason to miss school?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, look,
definitely.
Hey, man,
it's so sad.
Look, I was not proud of it. I was not a teen. I was not in school anymore. I was of college ages, and I was homeless for a while. And I was still in college at the time, but I was living in a tent and all this stuff, And it's like it's really hard to go to class, man, when you don't know how to feed yourself. Right? Okay, so this is not the homelessness is not a definition problem. That's a society problem.
Definitely.
Okay, but look at this. Do you think that the stress or anxiety of your child's enough of a reason for them not to go to school?
As a mama,
yeah,
I would say yes, depending on the severity of it.
Well,
because
so and here's the problem, right? 15% say that's okay. They agree with you. I don't. Our child had OCD. She had a lot of issues. Go to school, figure it out, map it. No. It's a weird thing. Moms are going to try to keep their kids safe. Dads typically try to get, it's not exactly a bright line rule on that stuff, but 15%. Now 15% is like, but what's the definition of stress?
Right. That's what I was getting into, because I mean, there's different degrees. My oldest daughter has dealt with like bullying and, all this different type of stuff. And I have pushed her to go through it. If it becomes physical, then we're going to take a day and I'm going to go up to the school with you to deal with it. But after that, we're going back to school to face it, but when I think about keeping them home based off of stress, it's going to be a day of resolve and we're going back.
Well, now that's a totally different answer.
Okay.
All right. Like you didn't say, what you didn't say is, I mean, because we did some focus groups based on this information, and I didn't hear a lot of parents talk that way that said it was okay. What most of them were saying was, well, I don't know how to get them to go to school. They're so anxious. They're so worked up. They're so stressed out. The parents don't have the skills necessarily, the toolkit to make their kids go to school. Yeah. That's a whole nother tricky wicket, right? But it's like my daughter, who's in college right now, go Hokies, Virginia Tech, is I don't know why she picked Virginia Tech, but she did. She's a nerd. And she was having problems with her roommates. And I said, well, suck it up. Get through it. She went through an entire semester with them and then she switched. But she had a lot of anxiety. She's stressed. We talked about it. We listened to it. So I'm not saying it doesn't stink and it's not hard.
Yeah.
But we got to start dealing, but we can't deal with the homelessness as a school district necessarily. The fever thing's okay. But anxiety, we got to start working on with our parents.
Yes.
The next one is, what about sick with no fever?
Sick with no fever. No.
They go to school?
Go to school.
Yeah. See, I don't know about that one. Like, that's the one where I come as a daddy and I'm like, well, I don't know. How sick do they look? Does she fake throwing up or real throwing up? Like, I don't know.
Right.
Like, I don't know. So like, I feel like that one's a little wash, but 10% of the people said vacation.
No.
So now you can work on anxiety. You can work on people think vacation's all right. Missing the bus, 6%. That's a valid reason to miss school.
Because you don't have transportation.
But it is something the district might be able to help work on.
Definitely.
Transportation, right?
Resources.
And then there's some other stuff. So when we're starting to think about the things that a school district can and cannot, like your controllables, right? Like Socrates taught us to work on our controllables, not other controllables. And so I do want to hit a few of the potential solutions with you, and then we'll bow out, right? I'm going to share this full screen. So what are some of the things a district can at least look at? I didn't say you can resolve these issues, man. I know the school districts are underfunded and they're working their tails off. I know that. Pick one or two things and see if you can make the ball go down a little bit, start creeping down your percentage a little bit, right? Because that's what we need. Every kid that shows up is better, right? So transportation issues, looking at when school starts. This number is really for you right here. This 40% of live phone calls. It's interesting is that I think a lot of times we're educating the parents that their kid's chronically absent through very passive means. Like we send an email, we send a note in the backpack.
Right.
When I was little, I would calm my way out when I missed school. So that didn't exactly work out. But we had truant officers. They come knock on your door like, where are you? Why isn't your kid? There was a stick, not just the carrot is your peer groups. Everyone else is only missing 2 days. That's the carrot. You want to be like everybody else, the FOMO.
Yeah.
The stick in this regard is the truant officer, but nobody cares about those anymore. They don't have the budgets. They don't show up. They can't enforce anything. So, but we have found that live phone calls to the parents and having a conversation with them works.
Yes.
And so that's a big thing that you do. Right. So you actually call the parents, find out if they have transportation issues or whatever. But so text messages are important. We send text messages, we send emails. Those are all ways to start to connect with the parent, that start resolving the issues. Is it homelessness? Is it work? Is it busing? Is it bullying? Is it anxiety? And then you can start working on the problem.
Yeah.
But the first thing you have to do is connect with them. And so, I've run through this deck relatively quickly. I'm not going to get through. I'm not going to worry about this one and this one and this one. What I would like to, the anxiety stuff. I have some information we started doing on researching the anxiety issue. I don't have this fully baked out. I'm hoping us, our clients, the rest of the school districts out there, we can all start working on it together and share information about how we're doing it. So, I like to try to keep these webinars during the workday to 30 minutes, give or take. I'm a little over that right now, Rashai, but I do want to make sure they answer any questions that popped up out of your head on this data.
The biggest question that I had was like, we started with the 80% and the 10% that were unsure. It was like only 10% were being honest that they didn't know what chronically absent was. So I think that definition is so important in providing these tools and resources to help the parents. It's what is basically going to be, a big takeaway for me. The question that I have are so immense because this was a lot of data. I just need to process it really, but I'm really excited to use this data to strategize us helping our clients and definitely helping the school districts to make sure that they not only are able to find out why they're absent, but to help them return.
Well, and that's where, when I'm starting to think about let's figure out how to connect with them. Live phone calls, text messages, emails.
Yeah.
You got to try multiple ways to get
methods.
Especially the ones that the kids aren't attending a lot. Like you can't, I just thought about this. You can't really stuff something in their backpack if the kid's not there to stuff something in their backpack.
Right. Or even like the automated calls,
like the robocalls.
Yes.
Like the issue with the robocalls is they get blocked a lot and people can
hang up as soon as they answer. That's what happens.
Yeah. Right. And so that's why text messages that pop up on their phone. So make sure to get your parents' cell numbers and emails. A lot of schools are doing that, but now instead of just telling them their kid's missing a day, they don't necessarily care. They think it's all right. Like
show them what they're missing.
What they're missing, the long-term impact and how they compare to others. And then correct them on the definition of what it means to be chronically absent, because you could pick up 10% right there of
Yeah.
people that just went, like to your point, like 10%. I don't know what the definition is. We do know that 80% said my kids aren't chronically absent, but then you have 60% that
Yeah.
are by definition are chronically absent.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a pretty big swing. That's only 20% of that 80% was right. I know I'm getting a math nerding up with you right now, but I think that our premise is strong. All right, which is define chronic absenteeism, compare them to other people. I think I've said this enough times. I'm going to hush my mouth up. If you're at COSBA in Dallas Saturday, come see me, watch how I'm going to refine the presentation slightly. We're going to save this deck, put it on our YouTube channel. You can share it with whoever you want. We'll get you the slide deck so you have all the actual information. Probably won't have crosstabs done for it for those of you that are super nerds like me. But if you have questions, email us, right?
Yes. I can't wait to see the questions.
Well, I want people to help get the kidlets in school. That is our number one mission, right? So look, everybody, I hope this helped. I hope you got some value out of it. And I really do appreciate everyone joining me. Hey, thanks everybody. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye.